Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to Talking Bollocks. Hello, bollockers. I hope you're ready for some serious bollocks because I am in the mood to talk some bollocks. Yes, welcome back. It is me. Welcome back. First time, yada, yada, yada. Go back and listen to the other podcasts, whatever. Hi, my name is Howard H. Smith. I am your host, former singer of currently inactive UK thrash band Acid Rain. Apparently, they're putting out a collection of every single song they ever did on Candlelight Records on August the 4th, the triple CD box set called the Apple Core Archives, which you can pre-order now from candlelight.co.uk. I think that's candlelightrecords.co.uk or amazon.co.uk or amazon.com. Oh, no, I don't think it's available on amazon.com. But anyway, if you're outside of the UK or Europe, then hit up the Candlelight website or try and buy it via amazon.co.uk. I think they allow you to do that. There's definitely somebody in Australia messaged me to say that he bought it from Amazon because it worked out cheaper than Candlelight. So there you go. Massive fucking advert to begin with for my old band. It's all about me, isn't it, hey? Welcome, thanks for tuning in. It's me, and it's all about me. Hello, it's good to have you all back. I want to say thank you to everybody who has who's pre-ordered the box set. That is really, really cool of you. For those of you tuning in who were unaware or you're just listening for the podcast because you like the interviews and stuff like that, I totally understand. Sorry about the boring intro, but hey, my podcast, my old band, my new release. Fuck you if you don't like it. Where else am I gonna publicize it? Thanks for all your lovely comments about the special podcast we did. Craig did a very good job of dragging loads of stories out of me, but as some of you have noted, Craig could also barely get a word in. So there you go. I do stop talking occasionally, but not on the podcast because that would just be like this. That's a shit podcast if you ask me. So there you go. We're not going to be doing that again. That's called dead air in radio terms, but we're not on radio. We're podcasting, so we can do what the fuck we like. So, guys, first things first, got to do a bit of housekeeping, which was mentioning the Acid Rain there. I have to thank Pete the Geordie for tweeting on Twitter, funnily enough, and you can reach us at Talking Bollocks, and that's Talking Bollocks with a Z on the end instead of an S, so there you go. And Twitter's been lighting up, it's been really cool. Thank you, all of you guys, for spreading the Acid Rain Apple Core Archives via the Acid Rain Twitter account as well. That's been brilliant. That's at Acid Rain UKAC. It's just been brilliant. But thanks to Pete the Geordie, a Geordie in Salisbury, who basically copied Ginger of the Wild Hearts into a little debate we were having, and it looks like Ginger and I are going to sit down and have a bit of a chat, either over the phone or face to face at some point soon. So that's going to be cool. I unfortunately had an aborted attempt to, interviewing recently a member of the Soulfi clan. That's all I'm saying at this point. I don't want to say who or what, because it is still possible. As soon as they get back to the States, they're going to call me, and we're going to hook up because we've missed each other twice now. So it's been a bit of a pain, but it's cool. We're messaging on Facebook, and that's how I've been spending that's how I'm spending my time. Yeah, right. Just messaging stars, people in Soulfly, shit like that. It's not really. It's not. It's I got a boring life just like everyone else. So there you go. Don't sweat it. Right, what's been going on? I really, really am in the mood to talk some bollocks at the moment. I really, really am. As you all know, this is the upfront part of the show where I do tend to get stuff off my chest. And a bit more housekeeping that I almost forgot. At the end of this podcast, I am debuting fresh out of the studio. This is absolutely fresh. Only recently, it arrived with me yesterday. Fully mixed, mastered, ready to go is a track from the new Suicide Watch mini album called The Alienation Zone. Pre-order now, motherfuckers. And there's a guest vocalist on it that some of you may know. It's fucking me, isn't it? It's only fucking me again. It really is all about me this month, isn't it? Eh? It's my podcast, fuck you if you don't like it. This is the only chance I get. This is why I do this shit. But in all seriousness, look, I'm going to say this because I'm on it. I'll hold my hands up. If it wasn't all that, I'd like to think that I am honest enough to say that to you. I would have said that to the band first of all, but I've got to be honest with you guys, because if I'm not honest with you, and I don't, as you all know, totally unedited interviews, and the Andy Sneap one that's coming up is a prime example of that. And I have to be honest with you guys, completely honest, a bit like a football pundit, talking about his mates. But anyway, sidetracked. World Cup, that was good, wasn't it? Not if you're English, it was shit. But it could have been worse. Could have been Brazilian. How shit were they? Played football like it was a fucking lunchtime in the playground at school. Anyway, tangent, and I've forgotten what role I was. Being honest with you, the Suicide Watch track is an awesome track. I mean, that leads nicely into what I've been doing since I saw you guys last. I laid down guest vocals on a couple of songs on the new Suicide mini album, A Nation Zone. Pre-order now, motherfuckers. And I met up with Rid and the guys and at the studio, and Rid is the vocalist. Hi Rid, thank you very much. Very, very cool guy, awesome vocalist. It was really cool. I genuinely, I don't think ever two vocalists have just been in a room, got their shit done so quickly, encouraged each other, worked well together, voices complement each other. It was just a fucking really, really good experience. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, I did a cover version of the Peter and the Test Tube Babies song "Student Wankers," which is going to be on the on the mini album. But the song I'm going to play at the end of the podcast is called "Cursed Earth" or "This Cursed Earth," it's fucking rocking. So anyway, listen out for that. Don't fast forward to it now, you cheeky fuckers. Please, just fucking easy. There's plenty of time for that, okay? Don't run over there and fuck one song. Walk down there and fuck them all. Hey? You like that? See what I did there? Some of you are thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? And some of you are thinking, I know exactly where he's coming from. I know exactly what he's talking about. Well, anyway, fuck it. It's an obscure film reference, but, it's a good one. Anyway, what do we do? Right, yeah. Straight in, new albums this month. 3 albums that I've got down to talk about, and that's the new Mastodon album first off, which is One More Time Around the Sun. Which again, hang on, right, okay, yeah, here we go. Regular listeners will be aware of this. This is the sound of the new Mastodon album, because it's a fucking CD, motherfuckers. Buy some physical copy, support your bands. If you expect music for free, you're saying to that artist their music is worthless. Don't be part of the cuntish generation. Be a decent stand-up person. And if you want art and you want good quality art from good quality artists, put your hand in your pocket and fucking help them out. I mean, what's this? Are they fucking busking? Are they going to be on the streets next to a tube station, fucking starving before you give them money? I mean, Jesus, the turnaround is amazing. It really is. But anyway, I sidetracked. So I've been listening to it, and I've got to say, probably my least favourite album so far. I kind of weirdly tried to get into Mastodon around the Leviathan time, failed, got into them around Crack the Sky, went back, all of a sudden liked Leviathan, don't know what happened there, really liked The Hunter, and this album, I don't know, it's just, for me, it just sounds a little bit, I'm not saying they're rested on the laurels, it's stupid to make observations like that, you're not in the band, you don't know. It just sounds a bit phoned in, a bit just not, it's just not quite there, just not, it's not got the balls and just the songs. That's all I can say. It hasn't got the songs of The Hunter. The Hunter had some awesome songs. This album has some awesome riffs and some awesome bits, but it just seems to be a little bit lacking in songs at times. So there you go. Still want to get them on the podcast because they're an awesome bunch of guys, and that would be awesome. And I'm planning to try and get them on. Surprise album of the month. Unbelievable. I cannot believe what I'm going to say now, right? But surprise album of the month is Body Count, Manslaughter. Now, before you say, oh, fuck off, Howard, I'll leave space for you to say that. Yeah, fine, fair enough. But do not judge me, and do not judge the album until you've listened to it. It's a fucking surprise of an album. It fucking really is. Quite simply, the best cover version I have heard in years. They do a version, an updated version of Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies, and Ice-T has pulled off a fucking masterstroke. He completely updates, the lyrics are completely different apart from the chorus. It's superb, it's brilliant. I suggest you go look for it now. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before. It is fucking superb. It's not the highlight of the album, because the cover version being highlight of the album would be stupid. There is some great tracks on there, Back to Rehab, it springs to mind as one. It's a real surprise, honestly. If I don't like any of Body Count's previous material, and if you're like me, then seriously give it a try. And for those of you I've seen some feedback on Facebook and stuff like that, I know some of you out there are already onto it and as surprised as I am. It's great, and look, it's not the most amazing metal album you're ever going to hear. The actual metal itself, yeah, it's not fucking hyper technical, it's not amazing, but what is different about it is it's fucking Ice-T on vocals. You know, it's this iconic rapper bringing his own kind of lyrics and his own kind of phrasing, and he's not, you know, he's a genuine rapper on a metal record. So just, you know, as an ex-vocalist myself, it's just interesting to hear what he brings to the music. It's very different because he doesn't have metal roots, as it were, but it just works. It works, and I urge you all, the album's on YouTube, go and have a listen to it. It's good stuff. And finally, the much maligned, the new Mushroom Head album. Now, I'm going to say straight off that I do like Mushroom Head. The album is called The Riotous and the Butterfly. Now, some of you who've just seen pictures of them and thought, yeah, fucking no chance, yeah? Look like fucking rejects from a Tim Burton movie. It does look like Nightmare Before Christmas gone wrong. They don't judge them by the way they look. Quite seriously, there are bits in there that sound like Faith No More. Now, whoa. I am not saying that they're Faith No More, but I am saying there are bits and pieces in there that sound like Faith No More. They are like a more sort of mainstream version, Slipknot sounding, but they don't sound like Slipknot really. It's quite original. If you've ever been put off by the look, try and see past that. Give it a listen. Not a bad album at all. It's not their best. It's and I'm going to struggle to name standout tracks, but you know, so you know how sometimes albums don't have a standout track, but you know you like it because it's just a good general high standard. It's one of them. So give it a whirl. So what else has been happening in the world of metal? Well, what you're going to be hearing in the interview with me and Andy Sneap is, it's not an interview, it's a talk, it's a chat. We're in the chatosphere. Alan Partridge is back again and live and well. What you're going to hear me and Andy talking about was the fact that Zetro had only just come back into Exodus. Andy also says, I actually mentioned on the podcast, Andy gives us an exclusive that Hatred, Zetro's band, are still going to do the Onslaught tour, which, as it turns out, they're not, which is a shame because I was keeping that back and going to surprise you all with me and Zetro sitting down because we haven't seen each other in 20 years and we were like really tight back in the day and it was going to be fucking awesome. But anyway, that's not happening. But hopefully I'll get all the guys on when they're over. So anyway, yeah, Zetro's back in Exodus. Good thing, bad thing. Me personally, can only be good, can't it? I mean, yeah, there's going to be a minority of you out there, you know, who loved Rob Dukes and all the rest of it. Never really got into anything that they did with Dukes. I know the Atrocity Exhibition, I think it's called, you know, A B C D E F G, the whole fucking alphabet. Was really good stuff. I never really managed to get into those albums. I don't know why, but I couldn't. And it can only be good. And anyway, look, Andy and I touch on it a little bit, so I'm not going to go on too much about that. What I am going to go on a little bit about is Blackie leaving Voivod. Fuck me, how old school are we here? You know, Exodus, Slayer. I've Acid Rain. I've kind of covered Mastodon, Body Count, and Mushroom Head. So let's get back to the old school. And for any of you old schoolers, you know, out there, just go, no, Mastodon, shit, Body Count, shit, Mushroom Head, shit. Seriously, pull your heads out your asses. It's not 1989 anymore. And just can we get this really fucking clear? Slipknot is not new metal. Slipknot is fucking awesome. And you have got that wrong. You have got that so wrong, it's untrue. Go and listen to the first album and it will blow off your fucking balls/tits. So I have to say that, yeah, okay. And like I said, old schoolers, I love you, but sometimes you are a little bit stuck in the 80s, and that's really no more 80s albums coming out. It might be an idea to just try and give some new bands a listen. Anyway, enough of that pontificating and preaching like a cunt, aren't I? So anyway. Zetro, I told you I was in the mood for talking bollocks tonight. That's why I'm recording it tonight, because I'm just I'm in the mood. I'm in a mood to talk some bollocks, and it's roasting in here, and I can't actually. I'm going to see. Bear with me a second. I had to shut the fucking door to my balcony where the pigeons were. Right. I've got to open it. It's a hot one tonight, and I had to shut that earlier because when I started recording, neighbours' kids were outside making a fucking noise. Kids, don't you love them? Can't live with them. Can't bury them in the fucking garden. I jest, of course. Actually, the kids' parents, right, my next door neighbours, are Polish, and we used to chat and just pass the time of day. And then one day he was cleaning his car, and I had my balcony window open, and he was blasting fucking Chaos AD in the car stereo while he was cleaning the car. And I'd lived here about 3 years, never had a clue because he just looks casual, I was like, fucking hell, that's Sepultura, isn't it? Ever since then, it's awesome. We drop CDs into each other's letterboxes because we just go across the road and drop them into each other's letterboxes, and that's how we share music. And we're always chatting and stuff. And he's a fucking top guy. And when I was laid up last year after I had my knee operation, he was like just so helpful. It was really cool. And I actually dropped a CD of the new Suicide Watch mini album, Alien Nation Zone, available for pre-order. Motherfuckers. Oh, look, there you go. As soon as I open the window, what do we get? I was going to say that was a motorbike, but you can't get a more metal sound than a motorbike, can you? So we'll fucking leave that in because this is about as professional as a fucking Oxfam shop. But anyway, it's a fucking Oxfam shop up in this bitch. So anyway, he dropped him the Suicide Watch album and saw him today, and he just went fucking awesome, fucking amazing. And just as I said that, how weird is this? My phone is lying right next to the mic because that's where I have my notes of what we're going to talk about. What I'm going to fill your ears with. And as I said that, a message came through from Simon from Suicide Watch. He's just cleaning up Babysick at the moment. So there you go. Sorry about that, Simon. Sorry to let everybody in on more than you care for them to know about you, but that was just fucking weird. Right. Okay. Anyway. Oh God. Fucking. Oh, awesome. I've had another message, and yeah, anyway, can't go into that. Right, it's about something else. It's still about metal, because that's all the messages in my phone. They're all about metal. It's just metal, all the time. So, fucking hell, that's, even for regular listeners, that's a tangent and a half right there, isn't it? But luckily, I do still have the notes. Sorry about that. This is so not edited. So, anyway... where were we? I have gone up my arse a little bit with that. Yeah, so yeah, Zetro back in the day. I've gone all over the place there, haven't I? Well, what I was getting to, where I was going with that, what I was getting to was after Zetro being back in Blackie being back in Voivod, which is fucking awesome. That was the tangent I went off on. New school, old school. Thank you. My weed battered brain has just recovered. Phew. Yeah, Blackie has left Voivod, which is obviously bad news, but he's already been replaced. Good news. That's cool. As Voivod march on with only 2 original members, and I posed the question on the Acid Rain Facebook page this week. Facebook.com/Acid Rain Thrash. How come Voivod are getting oh great, they're still going, and there's only 2 original members, and Slayer are getting trashed for only having 2 original members? And I need to address some stuff that was on the a lot of comments on there. Now look, I am not the oracle of all knowledge. I am not claiming to know everything, and if I come across like that in the next 5 minutes, then I apologise. That is not intended, but yeah, I'll get to that. And secondly, I'm not a Kerry King or Tom Araya, because Kerry King seems to be getting all the shit for this. I'm not a Kerry King or Tom Araya apologist. But what I would say is that I have read the recent biography that was released called Slayer 66.6, the Jeff and Dave years, and there's some really fascinating stuff in there. And when it was written, Dave had just left, and there is some really interesting stuff in there. Dave Lombardo was going through a divorce, a very expensive, very messy divorce. His wife claims in divorce papers that Lombardo deliberately basically dumped on Kerry and Tom 2 weeks before they were due to go on tour in Australia, that he wanted a 25% share of the band back, which he had forfeited the first time he left. That's how it works, by the way. That's not anyone being cunts, that's how it works. And the reason he'd done it was he timed it perfectly, because he was basically holding them to ransom 2 weeks before the tour. Now, the danger of holding anyone to ransom is somebody decides not to pay the ransom and someone ends up getting their fucking head chopped off, their balls cut off, or in fact sacked. And that's what happened, apparently. Now, like I said, I've done my homework. Okay, what I'm asking is just that it's very easy to read stories in the press that are written with an agenda behind them, and press releases that are written with an agenda behind them, and decide, well, you don't like Kerry King, and after all, you've come up with the middle name of Burger, get it? Burger, Kerry, Burger King, and so you're just going to blame him. And Tom Araya's blameless, and Dave Lombardo's a saint, and the way they've treated Dave Lombardo is disgraceful. Really? You know that for a fact, do you? You were in the room? You know what happened? No, I'm not saying I was in the room. I'm not saying I know what happened, but I have done a little bit more research than just read what I've been fed by the two warring camps. It's just not that simple. Do some research. You can find it. Now, I appreciate, I know I sound like a complete metal spod here, and there's people saying, Howard, I have not got the fucking time, patience, or effort to look into it. Fine. But if you haven't, do be aware that the opinions you express are therefore half-baked and not as knowledgeable as they need to be. It's very easy to jump on the bandwagon of hate Kerry King, and I'm not a Kerry King apologist. But what I'm saying is, Dave Lombardo pulled a dick move. He pulled a dick move, and even more of a dick, he absolutely no way saw getting sacked coming. Because the reason he played it was because he needed a pay rise. He needed more money because of his divorce and the way the settlement's going. So definitely, a man needing more money does not pull that kind of trick when he thinks he could end up with him being unemployed. Well, he took a roll of the dice and he came up with a 1, and it turned to shit. Now, I think all three parties are to blame. The whole thing has been an absolute fucking car crash, and it's very, very, very sad to see. But I'm just saying, look, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and there's the truth. Okay, so yeah, what am I just felt I had to say that. I don't know why, but I guess what I'm saying is, as with anything, whether it's the news, it doesn't matter whether it's metal or whether it's Gaza or whether it's Birmingham schools in the UK supposedly being infiltrated with Muslims to promote a Muslim agenda. Whatever it is, don't just fucking sit and listen and go, oh, I have all the facts now because I've listened to one story, because I've read one website. If you want to express opinions and you want to and you're interested in the subject, let's just do some research. You've got the greatest research tool ever known to mankind at your fingertips. So a little knowledge goes a long way. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, forgive me if I sound a bit preachy at all there. Didn't mean to. My apologies if that's the way it's come off, but it's my podcast. My heart's in the right place. So, fucking deal with it. Moving on. Chester Bennington from Linkin Park thinks that music festivals are killing live music. No, Chester, you're killing festivals with your shit music. End of fucking story. I mean, Jesus Christ, did anybody see that set at Download? I saw highlights of it on the TV. Fucking hell. More life in an episode of Thunderbirds. Just like, it was like a bunch of shop window fucking dummies. It was like, it was fucking embarrassing. And there's one, he's still got that one speaker on his fucking head, like some weird deaf guy. And Chester Bennington has got all the fucking charisma of an empty bag of crisps. And as for the rapper dude, I mean, dude, you got chops, you can rap, you can write songs, but live, You're a boring cunt like the rest of them. Jesus Christ. For Chester Bennington to come out and say, having just headlined one of the biggest festivals in Europe, he's got the cheek to then come out. So take the payday with the one hand, yeah? Take the payday with the one hand, and then the minute you've done the gig, slag off live festivals. What a cunt. What an absolute cunt. And just to prove he's a massive cunt, he goes and sings in fucking Stone Temple Pilots. Oh, no, is it not? Is it Stone Temple? Yeah, was he doing that, or was it... Look, either way, whether it's Stone Temple Pilots or whether he's doing that fucking Velvet Revolver, either way, cunt. Just, what a twat. I will not, and by the way, if you're old school and you hate Linkin Park, you're fucking right. And if you're new school and you like Linkin Park, you're fucking wrong. And if you just like them, you're wrong. Anyway, the only decent album they've done, fucking Jay-Z was on, and he just basically improved the album by 100%. How did he do that? Because he's got talent, that's why. He doesn't rely on a fucking computer. So, really gone off it about there. Metallica played Glastonbury, Glastallica. Yeah, it's a big old story, isn't it? Do you know what? There is other things I want to talk to you about, but I'm going to rest it there because we're 26 minutes in now. Actually, by the time the intro's on, it'll be a little bit longer. By the way, if anybody's wondering what that intro is I play every week, it's Creative Restraint by Acid Rain, who've got a new collection coming out called the Apple Core Archives, yada yada. You know where I'm coming from. It's about time we got into an interview, isn't it? And some of you who fast forward the first part, I'd like to think that's none of you, but I am realistic and self-aware enough to know that some of you will just skip past it all and go, fuck me, is he still rabbiting just to get to the interview? Fair enough, cool. If that's what you tune in for, that's what you tune in for. So let's get to the interview. The scene is at Muswell Hill in London. Andy Sneap has come down to London he's doing a charity bike ride the following day, up to Download. He's doing it with Rod Smallwood and a load of other guys, and so we meet up in a curry house in where did I just say? Fucking, what's my memory like? Muswell Hill. So we meet up in a curry house. It was Andy and Kev from Hell were there, not Kev from Acid Rain, and we sat and it was great. I just rocked up and was like, all right mate, all right, sit down. Have you ordered yet? No. Do you want a beer? Yeah. Get the beers, and we just picked up, and one of the first things Andy said, we literally said hi for a couple of minutes, and then one of the first things he just looked at me and he just went, Rick Mail, eh? I was like, yeah, I know, shit, isn't it? And he just died, and we probably spent about the next 10 or 15 minutes just talking about Rick Mail and all the rest of it, because that's the way we rock. We go back a long way. We don't have to talk about metal all the time, although that is what you're going to be listening to. Don't worry, it's not us talking about our shopping and how much we like films. So what you're going to hear is basically we had a few beers, we had a curry, went back to the hotel. Kev left us to it. Don't blame him. And we sat down in the bar of the hotel and we just chatted. There's nobody else around, but being me and being unedited podcasts, what you will hear is a guy starts banging on the door because all these cyclists start turning up in the middle of the fucking night. Because we were doing this between about 11 and midnight, and all these cyclists started turning up from all parts of the country to do this ride. So they're all turning up in all their fucking spandex, fucking weirdo semi S&M gear with their bikes, and this one dick is banging on the window and he's trying to get him. I was like, look mate, he's banging on the door. I was like, mate, I can't open the fucking door, I don't work here. He's like, oh. So eventually he goes round to the main door, and his powers of being a dick were very impressive. He manages to come in, and you'll be able to hear him clattering around in the background, and you'll hear him say, oh, we're just doing an interview. And he only fucking just sits down about 10 feet away on the sofa opposite me and Andy, and decides he's going to listen to the interview and listen into the podcast. So bear in mind, after I let this guy in, this cunt is just sat there for the whole time. Unbelievable. By the way, I did tell him that this was a podcast and a name. So if by chance you're listening to this, Mr. Cyclist, I know I have just referred to you as a cunt, and I have taken a piss. I do apologise. He was actually very nice, and he certainly knew his shit about music. So I apologise for that, mate. I think I'm showing off in front of my friends on the podcast here. I do apologise. So anyway, let's get to it. Me and Andy talking old school, talking all sorts. Enjoy. Right, here we are. So let me set the scene for you guys. I am with my my old mate Andy Sneap. We are in the Roseview Hotel in North London. Andy is about to do a charity bike ride tomorrow, which should be
painful.
Yeah,
very painful.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
We've had a lovely curry and a couple of beers and told all the stories that we can't tell on this podcast. And so now we can begin. We sat in the bar.
It's empty.
Yeah, that is empty. And there's no background noise, which makes a change for these podcasts. So anyway, Andy, as I was saying earlier, I don't want to go like over old ground, but we've known each other for 26 years.
Yeah.
26 years, which is absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
And
especially for saying you still look like you're 12 years old.
That's very kind of you. Yeah. And you look like Gandalf.
Yeah. I've actually sapped your age from you. I'm exaggerating it. Yeah.
The weird thing is, by the way, people, I'm actually gonna turn the laptop the other way, right? So because Andy can't take his eyes off the audio graph.
I'm looking at WAV forms.
He's
that's all I do all day is look at that screen.
Yeah. we came in this room and he started clapping, going, "Oh, I don't know about the acoustics in here. Can we put some curtains up?" 26 years. It's and I was going to say the weird thing is that every time, I mean, because we go a good few years without seeing each other, and then when we meet up. It feels like you just walked out the room and came back in again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with you and with me as well, we were in a very similar situation when we were kids in bands, because we were kind of the guys driving the bands, weren't we?
Yeah.
Not disrespecting any other members of the bands we were in, but we used to be in touch, back in the 80s, because we were the guys that were sending the demos out, and we kind of got the vision and the business mind about us.
Yeah.
Like Stan, who was in Zentrix as well, and there's a few of us on the scene back then who we're kind of all still in touch now. We've all done something within the business, and it's always been nice when we've got together again and we've talked about old times, because we've always related back to it and had stories to tell about it, and it's it's like you say, it's like the years just melt away, don't they? So.
Well, exactly. It was like tonight when I walked into the curry house, and you're like, "All right, mate, all right," shake hands, and within 5 minutes, it was just like,
talking shit,
talking shit. Yeah. Poor Kevin, the other guitarist from Hell, was at the curry house with us as well, who's just had to sit and listen to us talk shit for a couple of hours. Yeah. But it is. I remember getting a letter from you. I'm not going to explain what a letter is for anybody listening who doesn't know what it is. If you're too young, go it. So I got a letter from you, and it was like, I think I'd done an interview in Kerrang or something like that, and mentioned that we'd done a really pro demo.
Well, you got colour cover. You got full colour print. I remember. Yeah.
Full colour.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Sets.
Your parents had obviously invested money into the band.
That's it. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
The only reason Sabbat had a colour cover was because my dad had a colour photocopier. Well, it wasn't actually colour. We could put coloured paper to it, and it'd do another. That's how we had the newsletter out all the time. We had a photocopier access.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did.
That set us apart from Onslaught.
This is bizarre. Yeah, it did set us apart from Onslaught, by the way. It's bizarre. I've got some guy wants letting in the hotel. This is proof. This is unedited, right? Yeah. I'm going to let some bloke into your hotel.
Can you open that door? No, he's got to go around the door. Send him to the other door.
Yeah. Yeah, he's honestly, dear me.
Just can't get the stuff, can you?
No, you can't. Fucking cyclists.
Oh, he might be one of us.
Yeah. Pacing road tax.
Yeah. He's got a beard.
Yeah, he must be then. Yeah. He's going on a quest as well. Where are you cycling to?
That's pizza delivery if ever I saw it.
Where are you cycling to? Mordor, isn't it?
Yeah. Alexandra Palace to Donington. Yeah.
That's the buzzer going off.
That's not that's the Archer's sound effects library in the background.
That's the easy term to get in.
Yeah.
You were saying about we had the full colour tapes, and I remember you sent me a letter. I'd done an interview saying like, well, we made our demos look as professional as possible.
Yeah.
Because we thought, well, that's the way to get signed.
Because the music's shit, I think.
Yeah.
But it is, you're dead right. I mean, and that still, it stands strong, doesn't it? You always present something. You make an initial impression with anything. It's like, even if it's just a job interview, you've got to make an initial impression, and that's what Sabbat always did, and it's what you guys did, and it's what kind of put us in that league above. The average band.
That's what put us in. What is now? I don't know if you saw that thing on Facebook the other day that's been doing the rounds. The UK Thrash Big Four.
Yeah.
The Onslaught, Sabbat, Zentrix, Acid Rain.
What about Slammer?
Well, the last
they got Warners.
But last I heard, everybody was blaming them for UK Thrash falling apart.
No, I think that's Lawnmower Death, isn't it?
Well, I think that's this very day.
Yeah.
Lawnmower Death, or as I like to call them,
I knew
I knew
the Sabbath reunion was over. It wasn't when me and Martin fell out. It was when Lawnmower Death got back together. That's when the thrash thing's dead.
And the weird thing about that as well is they're bigger than they ever were.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's brilliant what they've done. Absolutely brilliant. To go back to that, of course it makes you're going to make an impression.
Yeah.
And I remember you writing to me saying like, I totally agree about what you said. That is exactly, that's exactly the way we see it as well. And we were trading letters, and I think your girlfriend at the time contacted me without you knowing, and invited us to your 18th birthday.
Yeah. I think she'd gone through every there's. Because like we were talking about earlier, you turned up at that. It was total bedlam, wasn't it? That party, and you were on your way down to London for a show at the Astoria.
Yeah. Death Angel show. Yeah.
Was that wasn't? We'd met each other before that, though, hadn't we?
Well, we'd met at the gig. Remember?
The Clarendon gig.
We met at the Clarendon gig.
Yeah.
But the second time we met was
the party.
Was the party?
Yeah.
We rocked up, and you lot were already on the way. But soon bedlam ensued, and
the Lawnmower guys were there as well, weren't they?
The Lawnmower guys were there, and fucking hell! Do you know what I've just remembered?
What?
We were talking about this earlier, people listening, right? You said because Kev, we'll get to what happened to Kev on this night, right? But Kev got very, very pissed quicker than everybody else, as he was apt to do. And if you remember, you've just totally reminded me of something. Kev got the lawnmower out of your shed, right? And do you remember? He shouted at the top of his voice. He said, "This is lawnmower death," and he threw the lawnmower over your fence, over the hedge into next door's garden. Yeah. So I remember him shouting, "This is lawnmower death."
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
and I would imagine he killed that lawnmower as well.
Probably.
But that night didn't end too well for Kev. In Acid Rain's career, we were only censored a couple of times. One of the time, and both were on those collages on the inside of a couple of albums. One was when we had there was a picture in Kerrang, and it was Joe Elliott with his arm around Rick Allen, and they were going like, "Way!" And Rick Allen had his Joe Elliott had a mic in his hand or a beer in his hand, and what we'd done is this little collage. I think Stilly did it or Kev did it, but what they did was they then cut Rick Allen's arm off, right, drew lots of blood coming out of it, and then took the mic out of Joe Elliott's hand and put Rick Allen's arm in it. And we had that as a cartoon, and we were told we couldn't use that. And the other one was a photo from that night of Kev shitting himself.
Falling in it.
And falling in it. You remember all of this, don't you?
Are you guys biking tomorrow?
Yes, you.
This is the guy.
You're right.
This is the guy who was banging on the door earlier.
Yeah.
Hello, mate.
No.
Hi. I know. We're just doing an interview, so we'll have to catch up with you in a bit. Cheers. So that was the highlight of that night, wasn't it? Really,
it was, and what a highlight it was.
Absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
You mentioned there that you and you casually mentioned, I don't know if you noticed, that you and Martin have fallen out. And
it happens every 10 years, really.
Yeah. And as you, I mean, you've sort of intimated, not publicly but certainly privately, which is now done publicly too. That it's not, Sabbat's not something you're interested in doing again.
Mm.
Was that?
No, I'm not going there again. I mean, we after all the stress and hassle of it, we got back together in 2006, and we did those Cradle gigs, and then we went out to America, did some shows out there, and then we did a little run. We did a load of festivals in Europe, and then did a little run in the UK. And by the end of that, it was just like it was time to just knock it on the head, to be honest.
Right.
There's too many sort of old things cropping up again, and it's just not worth the stress, And now I'm doing the health thing, with how busy I am in my schedule with the production side of things and how well hell's going. In
other words, why would you do it?
Yeah, why would I do it? I mean, I just don't want that stress in my life, and I'm not going to knock Martin. We've had enough arguments down the line, but he's free to do what he wants, and let him do his thing. And he needs to do his own thing. I think it's too much, sort of banging the heads and clashing when we're together. So I'd rather him just be happy and do his thing.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just do my thing. I wish him well. I mean, I know he hasn't got a good thing to say about me, but he hasn't. But I mean, at the end of the day,
singers, mate.
I'd just rather if he's not happy being in a band with me, I'd rather him be happy doing his own thing. And I've offered to help him out doing it, and I've offered to, I even offered him a load of shirts to help him out, the old Sabbat shirts and stuff, but it's always come back at me full force. So
you did have a rather public falling out.
Well, I Facebook, didn't you? I didn't. I wasn't the one accusing anything, But what can you do?
Yeah, to be fair, you did play pretty much a kind of dead back to everything.
Well, I haven't got any reason not to like him. I just don't know why it's always a conflict, And
I'll tell you what was funny though, when you had that big Facebook fallout, it was like a who's who of thrash metal chiming in. There was like James Murphy. Oh, I haven't seen that name for a while.
Yeah, Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, there's no need for it. No need for it. And I'd rather it just didn't go there all the time. I'd rather it was just, I'd do my thing. I'll work with the people that I go on with, and he can do his thing, and there's room for everyone.
Yeah, of course there is. Yeah. Of course there is. I mean, funnily enough, talking about, we were saying earlier about that we don't see each other for years, and then hook up, and occasionally we go through bouts of texting and WhatsApping as well.
Yeah.
And when we were texting recently, you sent me you totally caught me off guard when you said, to give a bit of backstory, Andy and I don't remember anyone else being there, just me and you, backstage Donington.
Oh yeah,
1988.
Yeah, it would have been I think it was the year Maiden were headline, 88.
I know it was good. Yeah. Do you know what I remember? I remember
Pepsi Tate getting beaten up over the fence.
I remember. I remember that, and I also remember we went out to go and watch Megadeth. How's the irony of that?
Yeah.
We went out to go and watch Megadeth. And it's when you had your really long straight hair. I know what happened. I followed you through the crowd, and you kept getting your hair trapped by people. And eventually, we stayed for about 5 minutes. Megadeth, and we're like, "Fuck this! I'm fucking sick of this."
We tried to get in under the sanctuary tent, didn't we? Remember that?
Well, I don't. When you say we, I think what you mean by that is you kept a lookout, right? Right. Whilst
you were small enough to fit under.
Well, I hardly had to bend down to get under the tent to try and get into the sanctuary music tent. Of course, again, the irony being that you're going doing a bike ride with Rod Smallwood tomorrow. But I also thought about that, and I'd completely forgotten about it. Do you remember?
It was his son on the door, wasn't it?
I was just going to say,
doing
do you remember the guy on the door?
Doing the barbecue, giving us all the free hot dogs as well.
He was wearing a coat or something, wasn't he? He was he was all right, but that was mental. And when we bumped into Andy Crane as well, of then children's TV, who was really.
He was there to see Bon Jovi, wasn't he, or something, or he was into Bon Jovi. I remember him mentioning that.
Yeah, I was very pissed.
Yeah,
I was very pissed. But also we.
Lars Ulrich as well, wasn't it?
Yes,
I'd forgotten about that until you mentioned it. I forgot we'd been chatting to him at that one.
Yeah, so we spent about 10 minutes chatting to Lars Ulrich, and because you were like, oh, what band's you in? And I was like, oh, I'm in a band called Acid Rain. He was like, oh, right, okay. I was like, oh, great, never heard of us. And then he said, yeah, and I'm in a band called Sabbat. And he went, oh, right, in this like sort of Danish, like, oh, yeah, you guys, you did the... That's a fucking awful impression.
It wasn't, actually.
He's like, yeah, you guys did the Astoria, you know.
Yeah, he came out of that. He came out of that.
You had the fucking security thing.
Yeah, because I'd met Lars. They were doing the pre-production to Master of Puppets.
Did you say, I met Lars? Want to meet Lars? Want to meet Lars? Huh? Have you seen Mission to Lars?
No, I've not.
Right,
it's lost on me.
Right, okay. Yeah, right. Anybody out there who has seen it, you'll get that. Anyway, sorry, I apologise.
No, we met him on the pre-production for the Master of Puppets tour because they were in Nottingham. I think he had a girlfriend in Nottingham or something. And him and James came down to Rock City one night and we were chatting to him. And then we went backstage at a couple of shows on the Puppets tour. I think it was Sheffield. And gave them the Sabbat.
I was out front at Sheffield.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Fuck.
With Anthrax, wasn't it? And Spitting.
Yes.
It was only 3/4 full.
Yeah.
Barker was on the balcony, by the way, at that one.
Bloody hell, really?
Yeah.
Fucking
He couldn't get in the stalls, but I was in the stalls.
Yeah.
And anyway, I gave them one of the colour-covered Sabbath tapes, see, and they remembered me for it.
Well,
it works.
Well, at that gig, I gave Cliff Burton a copy of our demo.
Yeah.
And he was dead 9 days later. So I don't think we had anything to do with it, but that was our first demo, and it was shit. And to be fair, it wasn't the colour cover either.
No, well, if it were colour, it might still be here.
It's fucking my fault, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
That's an interesting sort of that gives an interesting insight to like where our bands were, because I think it was our first demo.
86, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was our first demo.
86.
I was trying to palm off on him. The one that got us turned down by Mark Palmer, who was at MFN at the time. Who, interestingly enough,
is my A&R guy now.
Yeah. And I met for the first time because I remember when Music for Nation signed us.
Yeah.
Mimi was still friends with Mark, and she said, "Oh, we've signed these things about Acid Rain." He goes, "Oh no, why? They're shit." And to me, fair point. He heard the first demo, and it is shit. So you were producing demos with colour covers, and we were still like churning out this.
2 colour though. It wasn't full colour like Moshkin sign or whatever it was.
Well, you know, what can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah.
And actually. Here's an amazing fact for those of you who don't know listening, but Andy actually played in Acid Rain for one show.
Brought the level up slightly.
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, by you turned the back line up.
Yeah.
But other than that, you weren't very good. You never looked comfortable in Bermuda shorts. You really didn't.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's like you look like you wanted to be dressed like Sean Bean in Game of Thrones. That's how you're comfortable.
Well, I remember rehearsing for that learning the whole set in like an hour or something. And then,
you fucking liar! You came up and stayed at my house for like 2 days.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing anything. It was about an hour or something.
It was creative restraint.
Did we just listen to Prong for 2.5 days or something?
Yes, probably.
Yeah. But then just before the gig, you pulled out those pink and yellow shorts that were actually voted like some of the worst shorts in Sounds magazine or something, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was like, you're wearing these. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, totally.
But I did wear them. You've got to give me credit. I think I did stage dive at that gig as well.
Oh, I'd completely forgot about that. I watched it recently, and you did.
Yeah.
And you did. But do you know what? Because I'm going to post the gig up soon.
Yeah.
But the best thing about that gig is
my hair.
No, not your hair. But you'll probably watch it back and go, no, it's definitely my hair. The best thing about that gig is that every time Kev gets a chance. He's either over your side of the stage, and you know Kev, he'll stop playing for any reason, and he just stopped playing and just start pointing at you and just going, "It's Andy Sneap, it's Andy." And then after about 3 songs, Kev just goes up to the mic and goes, "Is it me, or is that Andy Sneap over there?" And it's like, but he just does it for the whole gig, just like relentless. It just never stops.
That was one of your last gigs, wasn't it?
Yes, it was probably that, and then we did the Jokes on Us tour. And then the final gig, and that was it. So
it's funny, wasn't it? You know, when the Thrash thing died, you got a real set. You knew it was happening, didn't you? It was just like.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, right? But we announced we were splitting up. The following week, you announced you were splitting up, and 2 weeks later, Onslaught split up. And it always makes me. I've interviewed Reanimator and Zentrix, and Gamma Bomb, sort of modern UK thrash, and I was talking to Chris Astley at Zentrix because he's on that interview for that British thrash documentary. There's a trailer, and he said like, you know, I can't remember like why sort of UK thrash died. You know, why was that? And he did. And he tells this story like they went in to record their latest album. When they came out, everybody had split up. I was like, all right, that's it then. Yeah, it's over. But it's easy. I mean, it's like we weren't good enough. None of us were.
I've said this so many times. I did an interview with in that Metal Hammer Thrash thing that came out a few weeks ago, and they were going, well, what did you think of the UK thrash scene? I was like, it was average at best. You know, compared to the Americans had us all over, didn't they? You know, we could the level of professionalism in the American bands compared to the UK was so much higher, and people look back at it with real rose-tinted glasses. It wasn't as good as what people think. The scene was smaller. I mean, it was good. Obviously, it was fun, and it was it was an exciting time for people. And if you were part of it, it was which we both were. It was a good time, you know, when you're a young kid to be part of it. But it was nothing that was going to make you a living, and nothing that was going to be groundbreaking, to be honest.
Well, there was never going to be any longevity.
No.
And one thing that's true of the American music market is if you're going to break in the US as a UK band, you have got to bring something to the table that is exclusively UK.
But people weren't even interested in anything UK at the time.
Well, no. But the thing is, what I'm saying badly is that thrash originated in the States. So
you're not going to do it better, are you?
You're not, because you're always going to be seen as a knockoff.
Yeah, you're on that second wind, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, the irony is, back in the day, we used to sit there and laugh at Tiger Tails and go, "Oh, look at the state of them. They're singing about cruising for chicks on the Broadway, and they're from fucking Cardiff." And it's like, well, we were no better. We were thrash band, which is essentially American metal. We were playing American music.
But then you look at what was going on in America at the time. The glam thing was fucking 10 times bigger than the thrash scene at the time. Yeah. You know, the thrash bands were the underground then. So, we were like the underground of the underground almost. You know, it was total. You know, you're never going to earn a living at it, to be honest.
Well, certainly if you were on Noise Records, you weren't.
No. As many bands will testify.
You weren't even going to earn royalties for the records you did sell.
I'll tell you this now, I still get royalty statements every 6 months from Universal now, because they own the rights to Noise, and I'm still £60,000 in debt to them. Why they even bother printing that royalty statement to me?
Which is costing them money to tell you that you owe them money.
Yeah.
Last time I heard, I think we're similarly more. I think probably about 75k.
Yeah.
Music for Nations were in the hole for Acid Rain, which for some people will be listening now and they'll go like, "Fucking hell, that's 75,000 in old money, by the way. That's like that's been owed for over 20 years."
Yeah.
So, but the beauty of that is that the label is like, we still owe that money to the label, but we own all the rights to all the albums. So we can actually re-release all the albums and not pay them a penny.
You see, we can't. We don't own the rights. So.
Yeah, everything came back to us after 10 years.
Yeah.
So literally. Just
see, your parents probably paid for a lawyer. We went to the Musicians Union. Don't do that, kids.
Truth is, no, they didn't.
Yeah.
What happened was my cousin worked for Island Records, and he put us in touch with a music business lawyer. He was engineer on Permanent Waves. He helped Alex Lifeson record, because it's called Permanent Waves because one of the guitar solos is recorded from across a lake. They went and set up over the other side of the lake, and they recorded it from the other side of the lake to catch the music resonating over the waves. Hence Permanent Waves.
Bit bullshit, though, isn't it?
Bit of bullshit there, yeah, exactly, yeah. It's like, really. But they were doing a lot of drugs, and it seemed like a good idea at the time.
I tell you what, I'll do the drugs with them, and it will seem like a great idea. I'll just put a mic over here, lads. Call me when it's done. Yeah.
So off for a swim.
Yeah.
So he pointed us in the direction of a music business lawyer, and the first thing that the music business lawyer did was increase all the advances, increase all the budgets. I mean, and paid for himself straight away. I mean, it was a no-brainer, but. Well, it wasn't a no-brainer, because apparently going to the Musicians' Union seemed like a good idea.
Well, he did at the time. But what amazes me, right, my parents, I mean, my dad especially, a good businessman, he's got his 18-year-old son about to sign a contract, never even suggested going to a music lawyer. I mean, it's like, Dad?
Yeah, it's your fault.
Yeah.
I was 17, I had to get my dad to countersign.
Well, I had to wait till I was 18 to sign the contract, yeah.
My dad countersigned it
Yeah.
to make it legally binding. Fascinating stuff. Fucking hell. I remember being in Music for Nation's office, and we were like sat on this sofa, and I remember Gaz going, God, just think, like, Possessed have probably sat on this sofa. It's like... Ooh. Larry Lalonde was later to go on playing Primus. But they were exciting times. I mean, and let's face it, I mean, the kind of fucking crazy shit that you see on YouTube of like our old shows and stuff like that. They're times that are just never going to happen again. They'll never be repeated. They were just fucking awesome. I mean, I was in the Montague Pike on Saturday, or the Marquee as it used to be known. And just being sat in there and thinking this place used to be just absolutely rammed.
We used to hold the record for the most amount of people in there besides Kiss.
Really?
Yeah, we bettered them. We had 2 nights there, but there was a tube strike the first night. We had the most amount of people in there. Yeah.
That's right. What added up over the 2 nights?
Yeah. But then
Kiss,
I think Kiss did a show before Donington or something like that. So.
Well, one thing I will say is that only one band ever had people stage diving in the foyer, and that was us. With with Les, the Vic Reeves show. Supporting us, because that was a typical sort of Acid-Rain thing to do. We'll have a. And do you know we did that gig, and we had Les from the Vic Reeves show supporting us. Do you know who was Les from the Vic Reeves show's manager?
No. Oh, yes, the guy that was doing Napalm, wasn't it? No.
Paul Loseby.
Loseby. Oh well, he's my manager for a while as well.
Well, there
you go. Loseby, yeah.
The record label wrote. The record label wrote to Channel 4. Channel 4 forwarded it to Fred Aylward, and he forwarded that letter to his manager, and his manager went, "Is this some sort of fucking joke? I know these guys." It's like, he tour managed us like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he was tour managing Nuclear Assault at the time.
Yeah, of course he was. Yeah.
So it's just weird how things work, and he took away a bundle at that gig as well. So with the way we did a stupid door split, he absolutely. We had a shit ton of money that night. Unlike us. Same old story. Same old story. But starting to get all dewy-eyed about the old days now.
No, it wasn't worth it. No.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
It was good fun. It was good fun. I mean, I'm amazed that people actually remember. I'm amazed with the fondness with which people kind of remember what we did.
Yeah, but it's just people are young, and you look back, like say we wrote into the glasses of it, and it's really now, I mean, you remember playing like Leeds Irish Centre on a Wednesday night or something. It was fucking grim,
Might have been for you, mate, but we were from Leeds. It'd have been rammed.
Yeah.
The Duchess. Do you ever do the Duchess?
I did the Duchess. Yeah.
I did the Duchess. Yeah. It's a Hugo Boss shop now.
Is it? Yeah, probably better for that. Yeah. I think we had about 2 park hands working when we played there.
Oh, we loved it. But that was a local for us.
Very hot gig, that one, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Played that in, and funnily enough, the Clarendon, when we played with you, the second time we played there with Death Angel, that's one of the hottest gigs I've ever known.
I think Cardiff Venue was one of the hottest ones we ever did as well. That was sort of mid-June time. Well, that was silly hot.
Well, Cardiff Venue, we were supposed to open it with Exodus, and we drove down, and it failed. Didn't get fire safety certificate. So we just had to go out and have a curry in Cardiff instead, and a few beers. So yeah, it wasn't particularly hot that night. But I mean, look, you've obviously kind of reinvented yourself as a producer, and some people love your work, and some people give you shit for your work.
I don't listen to them.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah,
of course.
Same as music with me. I mean, you can only do what you feel true to, and I just do what the bands are like, and I just do what I think's right for the bands, really, and it keeps the work coming back. Yeah. So obviously the bands feel right about it, and that's all you can do, you know.
Well, it's funny because I don't want to sort of like, you know, kind of like fight your cause for you, but I've seen the criticism of your work from some people, and they've said like, oh, it's like, you know, it's a typical Andy Sneap production. Oh, he's done this and he's done this. Oh, they all sound the same. And whenever I read that, I always think, well, hang on, the bands that have hired you because they've heard your previous work.
Yeah.
If you rock up and start
give them a John Bonham dancer.
And you start going Eddie Kramer on them.
Yeah.
They're going to be
it's not going to work, is it?
No.
I mean, it's and they don't sound the same when you put them side by side.
Absolutely.
They don't. Yeah. Sonically, they're not the same at all. They've got a certain character to them, which obviously it's going to have because I'm doing it. It's like, you know, any good producer like Mutt Lang or Bob Rock or.
Oh, you're putting yourself in esteemed company there.
They do the same, you know.
But look,
do you know what I mean? Anyone that's got a good name for themselves has got a certain style and a certain quality they bring to the table.
Well, even you can translate that to acting.
Yeah.
You know, people say like, oh, well, you know, Al Pacino, you know, hoo-ah, you got your head right up, and he's like, oh, he's the same in every movie. It's like, well, no, he isn't, but he is the same person.
Yeah.
He can't be somebody else. You know, he's always going to be Al Pacino pretending to be somebody else. So there's always going to be characteristics, and it's kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the bands want that. That's why they're hiring you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's a certain quality within your stuff that they want, and it's that clarity and that sharpness and a certain thing you bring to the table that they want applying to their sound. And I think the trick as a good producer is to bring the qualities of the band out, not reinvent the wheel for the band, but it's you put your stamp on it, you know.
And presume, I mean, is there anybody? I mean, you don't have to name them, and I'm sure you won't. But is there anybody sort of significant that you've turned down?
Well, there's one or two bands, sort of like, you know. I mean, there's some Slipknot live stuff that I didn't want to do, and just because I didn't feel I was the right guy for the job. And it's like Avenged Sevenfold as well. They approached me a few albums ago, quite a long time ago. And again, I was just like, I don't really understand this band. I mean, nice guys and obviously good at what they do. Yeah. But it's
yeah. But if you don't understand the music, how can you work with it?
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to be sat in a studio. I mean, these weren't full album projects anyway. It's just B-sides and bits and pieces. But if I don't understand it, then I think there's a better guy down the line for the job. I'd rather. Yeah. I'm not the guy that's going to just do it for the money. I never have done it just for the money. I'd rather it was that they worked with a producer that was into it and felt he could add something to it, add to the big picture. Yeah. And if there's something that I can't say there's many bands now that I listen to and I'm like 100% into it. But even like Amon Amarth's a good example. They came up to me and wanted me to do the record, and then at first I was kind of like, it's a bit death metal-y for me. I don't know about it. I don't really get it really. But then I saw them live, and I was like, well, hang on, there's some melody in there that I like, and there's some riffing that I like, and I got to meet the guys and got to know them. I was like, yeah, I can work with these guys. I think I can bring something to the table.
That's quite. Is it my perception? That's quite old school, isn't it?
What?
That kind of attitude. So isn't there a lot of people out there who just go, yeah, I'll do it. It's X amount.
Well, you might have noticed I'm a little bit old school. Old being the operative word.
Hey, every day above ground, mate.
Yeah. But it's yeah, maybe it is old school, but I'm from that background anyway. So I think I'd rather you know, if I was the guy in the band, I'd rather there was someone like me being honest with them, saying, you know, before they take like, you know, X amount of thousands of pounds off them, you know, to do the job, being honest with them, going, actually, yeah, I can add something to this, you know, and not just doing it for the quick buck, you know. So.
And presumably as well, that's going to reflect better on you as well, isn't it? I mean,
well,
it's like,
I think it's better longevity-wise. I think it's better for your career. I mean, yeah, I got to a point a few years ago where I was doing a lot of work. You know, I was doing a lot of mix work for like Century Media and Nuclear Blast all the time. And I think people get sick of seeing your name on stuff as well. If you're the in guy all the time,
but the thing is that in guy changes.
Yeah,
it's like there is an in guy at the moment who I won't name because it's not right for me to do so. But
I know exactly what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Who, you know, he's doing a lot of the bands I've been doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's his turn.
Yeah.
But he's at that stage in his career.
But I was that guy a few years ago.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why people are going, oh, I'm sick of seeing this guy, because you don't want to turn the work down because you've got it all coming at you. But you have to sort of slow down a bit because you get burnt out, and I took some time to sit back and think, hang on a minute. People, you know, I started seeing comments from people, and you do take it to heart, and you're like, you know what, I can see this. I can see the way this is going, because you tend to be mixing by numbers a little bit and doing a little bit the same thing, and it gets very uninspiring for you as a producer and a mixer, you know, and as a musician as well. You want to enjoy your job. You want to be creative at it.
But also, I think, isn't there a little bit of like you start out and you get a bit of a job here and a bit of a job there, and then all of a sudden when the work starts coming in and you start going, wow, this is great. You know, I've been having to knock on doors, beg, borrow, and steal.
And when you have to turn stuff down.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that happens, and you go for a period like that, and then all of a sudden you go, right, hang on, I never thought I'd see myself doing this, but I'm actually going to have to start turning this stuff down because
it's killing
doing
me.
too much.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've been, you know, I was telling you about when I was doing the Megadeth album, I did 70,000 air miles on that last album, and I was juggling other albums at the same time, and it was absolutely physically killing me, you know, I was exhausted. And there was that one year, I did Megadeth, I did Testament and Accept all out in the States. You know, I'd never had any time at home. I was literally, I mean, everyone says, oh, it must be great doing this job. But I haven't got a home life. I didn't have a family life or anything. I was literally living out of a suitcase, constantly flying backwards and forwards across the Atlantic. Absolutely exhausted, never getting right from jet lag, you know. And by the end of the year, I was just like, fuck this, you know, I've got to stop, you know.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, you know, you don't get weekends off. 7 days a week, you know, 2 months at a time.
Well, the thing is, as well, is it's all-consuming. I mean, when you're working with a band, as far as that band's concerned, like you join that band. You're the fifth, sixth member, whatever.
And also, you know, you'll get band members walking in, doing their bit for 2 or 3 hours, walking out. The next guy walks in, does his bit. And you're working constantly for 12 hours a day. You know, you're feeling guilty about having a lunch break. You know, you know, if you go out for an hour and a half, you get back and they're all looking at the watches. You know, thinking about the clock that's ticking.
Yeah.
So it's tough. You know, really tough.
Yeah, I think just the hours and the travel that you've mentioned. I mean, like people say, oh, you know, tough. You're sitting around listening to music and stuff like that. It's like, well, it's not. No. And the thing is, it's like even when you are listening, you're not listening. You are concentrating so much because you're. You know, and the thing is, there's also that sort of paralysis by analysis as well, isn't there? You're going to overanalyze what you're doing, what.
Oh, you can't see the wood for the trees. Yeah.
Way, wouldn't it? Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention was, and you've told this to me personally, but I'm not sure if you want to say this again. You know, do you remember a while ago being approached by somebody from the Metallica camp as regards Death Magnetic?
No.
Really?
No, I've not been approached. No.
I thought you were.
No.
But that might just be my poor memory.
No, honestly, I've never. The only dealings I've had with the Metallica camp
was when you remixed tracks from Death Magnetic and put them on YouTube, and to this day have refused to claim.
No, I tell you what's happened there. That is people on my forum.
Is that an urban rumour?
No, that's my forum. There was.
You have a forum?
Yeah, there's loads of kids on my forum.
Nice. Are you grooming?
Yeah. No. I think it was the Guitar Hero tracks or something. You know, kids can.
Yes.
I don't know what program they use, but they can pull the single files off it.
I know, it's fucking amazing what they can do, isn't it?
Yeah. But there's a load of kids on the forum doing that and reposting the mixes for Death Magnetic. You know, so that's what that was.
Right, okay. So but you were falsely accused.
Yeah, I couldn't give a damn. Yeah.
So you're still up for doing the next Metallica album then?
No, not really. I don't think so. I think they've got the. Actually, I tell you what.
Oh, you've got the beard for it.
I know. Yeah,
you've got the beard for it. According to Corey from Slipknot, all you need to do is just wedge lots of food in it.
Yeah, and, sandals. I'm in.
Yeah. Sandals, and you're in.
I tell you what, though, I was chatting to one of their guys. The other day, there's a bit of to and forth between the Metallica camp, and I don't know if you heard it. That Dio Rainbow tribute track they've done compilation, which I think is fucking brilliant.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Really good.
Yes.
And it's the best.
If you haven't heard it, check it out.
It's the best thing they've done in 20 years. And I was saying it was Kent, the guy.
Oh yeah, you have just stopped getting yourself any Metallica work, haven't you?
Why?
It's the best thing they've done for 20 years.
Well, it is. I mean, it is. Best sounding at least, and I was saying one of their guys, I was saying it's brilliant, and it's Greg Fiedelman's mixed that, so I don't know what happened on the last record, but it's I don't know.
That's quite interesting because I think there was a lot of there was a lot of discussion about it at the time, and some people say what the fuck is the problem? But then when the guy who mastered it comes out and says, look, this whole thing was brickwalled by I got it, and believe you me, I wasn't happy about what I received. I mean, can you understand that?
It's one of those things. I think if you weren't there, you can't really comment on it. You don't know what's gone off really.
Fair dues.
But it's. I mean, obviously there was problems with the sound on that, but I think that Dio thing sounds great, and if they could do an album, obviously there's quality songs on that Dio thing, but if they could work with a producer that could. I mean, to me, I think Bob Rock. I know a lot of people, think they went off the boil with the Black Album and stuff, but I think Bob helped them with the arrangements really well. And I think if they could work with a producer who could get their arrangements down to proper songwriting, and they even did it, mind you, I guess it was with Bob Rock. I mean, the stuff that they'd done on Load and Reload and some of the film track stuff afterwards, I thought was really good. They need that sort of quality, and the mixers on that Dio thing had a little bit the Bob Rock thing to it.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Had the low end and the Randy Stow samples going on by the sound. Yes, but it's got
that live sound to it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a little bit Pro Tool, but I don't mind that. It's kind of Metallica always, when they were good, had that accuracy and the delivery to it, and that's what they need to get back to. A bit of that tightness and the solid thrash. Even rock, even some proper rock out of them would be nice.
It would.
And James was singing on it. It's brilliant. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
And it's all in the right key for him. I think it went wrong a little bit when they started trying to down tune, and it's in the wrong spot for his voice. He's got a sweet spot to his voice, isn't it?
Well, it's like any singer. If he's a tenor. Yeah. I'm a tenor. Believe it or not.
You'll do anything for a tenor.
Yeah, you've seen me do anything for a tenor. He's seen me roll up a tenner. But if you see, to be fair, Rubin said that about Sabbath, love or hate that album. Well, he said to them, love or hate his work, but he said to them, Ozzy's time in the band, when he was in the band before, he said that half the problem with what you were doing was the melody lines that you were writing were just at the top end of his range. And yes, there's tons of effects on his voice on 13 and all the rest of it. But the reason why he sounds better than he has done in years on that album
is because
He's
melody
singing an octave lower.
Yeah, it's just slap bang in his fucking range.
Singing in the key of talk. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, but that's, you know, the older you get, the deeper your voice gets.
I do think that's. Yeah. I mean, it's Halford, from what I hear as well, is doing a little bit of that as well. But you're right. I mean, your voice can't push like it used to. It does drop. I mean, it drops so much as you get older. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I saw Fish do a live show, and somebody shouted out a Marillion song, and he's great with his heckle put downs, and he just went, "Don't be fucking stupid! I can't even fucking sing that anymore."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, totally.
I mean, the only way a lot of bands do it is by tuning down a bit now. One or two steps down, but that really does affect the whole vibe of the song as well. You know, even if your ears got used to hearing things in a certain key in a show, you know, if the whole band's tuning down a semitone or something, it puts it in a different vibe. You know. So.
Well, it's like that Wembley Arena show that they did to celebrate, not celebrate, but commemorate Freddie Mercury's death. And Liza Minnelli did an interview, and she said, you know what, the amazing thing about this, I've got all these amazing singers here, and they're all doing fantastic work, but all of these songs are a key lower than Freddie used to sing them. It's just like, because nobody could do it.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to do that, like I said, at a certain age. But it's better to be around than not be around.
Yeah.
But, so what are your plans now anyway? I mean, you've got Hell seems to be really gathering some momentum.
Yeah, it's doing right. I mean, we obviously did this I'm on a Marth Carcass tour at the end of the last year. It's been a bit quiet at the start of this year because I've been doing Accept and Exodus out in the States. But then we've got this Hyde Park show next month.
Oh, fucking hell, yes.
With Sabbath, so that'll be good.
Yeah, you're on the big Hyde Park show.
Yeah, well, second stage, but still good.
You're still there?
Yeah.
You're not paying to get in?
No.
Any chance of any guest list?
No.
Bastard.
And then we've got Wacken as well, we're doing Wacken.
Oh, right, really?
Yeah, there's a Spanish show with Art Enemy as well we're doing, and I think Wasp are on that bill as well.
Oh, awesome. I hope you haven't got any anti-Christian lyrics.
I don't think we have.
Because old Blackie won't be happy.
He won't be happy, no. Unhappy Blackie.
Well, when he finds out that you're on the bill, you might, might be getting the old Spanish Archer from the Spanish show. Mr. El Bowl.
Yeah.
Dear me.
That was a bad one, yeah.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah. And,
the old ones are the old ones.
Yeah. And then we've got this festival in Belgium, then we're doing the Saxon tour at the end of the year, so...
Saxon,
yeah.
Wow.
Proper.
Wow.
Proper, yeah.
How do you think you're going to go over to Saxon fans?
Fine.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely fine. I mean, we did the Accept tour in Germany, which is
Germany doesn't count.
No, it does. Yeah. I think we'll be all right. You know, I think Saxon fans are like the metal. I think we've got enough of the trad metal and the hell stuff to win them over. So I think
is this the beginning of the PR war? Is it?
No,
there's lots of interviews going. Yeah, Saxon fans, they're really cool.
No,
they love the metal.
No, I'm a Saxon fan. I listen to Hell as well. So yeah.
Fair dues.
Yeah.
Fair dues. I don't know. I was never. I think I had one album with a girl eating the lemon or whatever it is. Or
let's play a bit of Saxon.
Oh, Andy's getting his phone out.
Hang on.
I'm not sure. Not sure we've got any rights for this.
Oh yeah. It's all right.
It doesn't matter. If
I know Biff. We'll waive the rights.
Yeah. Go play it on your phone.
Yeah. What have we got? Yeah. I downloaded this for the bike ride. Here we go. Hang on. Let's have a bit of a. Hang on. Don't get any better than that, does it?
What is that?
What's that? 747.
I'm a Saxon Philistine.
I'm just going to listen to this. Fuck you.
Wouldn't be the first time, would it? Oh God, is he talking? Just put the music on.
Right, yeah, here we go. Yeah, right.
That sound.
Bit of Quinn for you there.
So you were saying about bands, these days and all the rest of it. I mean, it's interesting actually because you've worked over a period where the music business has probably changed more than it has done in the last sort of 50 years.
Yeah.
In the space of 10 years, it's just been insane. Not just the technology that you're using, but the way the entire business has changed and the way bands operate and everything. I mean, it's that's kind of like head spinning, really. I mean, do you find it? Do bands have a different approach now than they would have done 10
I think they're a bit more savvy, really, on the industry. I think.
There's not much of the industry left. Really,
no, I mean, certainly, they're watching budgets a lot more, and there's a lot more sort of home recording going off, really. When we were doing the band thing, you get a budget for your for recording. You get a budget, a small advance as a band. You get tour support.
Yeah.
And really, it's all piled into one now. One smaller advance. They want an album that's twice as long. And a lot of them are wanting these 360 deals now, where they'll earn out the merchandise and the live shows as well. So sort of the labels are clamouring after the money. The bands are trying to keep as much money as possible.
It's basically it's not sustainable, is it?
No. You've got to be. I think a good example actually is Devil Driver. They're a bit. Des is quite clued up on how to keep a band running and turning over and making a business happen. Because he's probably turning out an album every 1.5, 2 years. He's really tightened the purse strings and really
streamlined.
Yeah, he's clever at it. He's the way he keeps the ball rolling. Working, keeping the band working.
There's an album there.
Yeah, and it keeps within the touring cycle, and you get on festivals, and there's a certain momentum you can keep going. And a band like Arch Enemy was doing that a lot as well. When you look back at the way they were working, but I think fans get a little bored of that as well. It can be like they're here again. It's another new album. It comes around very quick to a fan, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
So I think you've got to be really careful after a few years that you're not just repeating yourselves, and I think it's difficult. I think it's really difficult if you're on the road all the time, doing the same thing day in, day out to come up with anything new, to be honest.
Well, this is something that kind of strikes me as well, is that bands having to be on the road because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Means that when you're off the road, you're not earning.
Yeah.
So
and if you fall into the wrong spot of the year and take the time off the wrong year, you can almost have a year off because you can't get back onto festivals because you haven't got an album out in time.
Yeah.
So you've got to be really careful with your scheduling.
Well, this is the thing as well. It's funny to say, oh my God, you'd have a year off. Whereas it's almost like that time where someone's going to say, right, okay, we're going to take a year off and we're going to spend a year working on an album. Well, who's going to do that when essentially the album is not what's going to earn you money?
Yeah.
It's going to be out on the road.
Yeah.
So.
But you can't get out on the road unless you've got a new product out,
But what I'm saying is that leading to, is that going to lead to basically, the quality of the product suffering?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's my belief as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, look, just get some. I mean, there's a band. There's a band I know of recently who basically, due to certain things in their schedule, the label said, look, we need this album by back.
Yeah. So they cut corners to get the album out.
Written.
Yeah.
And recorded in 6 weeks.
Yeah. I've seen it happen so many times. Yeah.
And it's just, I don't.
And the label are getting an inferior product because they're putting the pressure on the band to get the album out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically harming the band's career.
But by the same token, the band also want to get out as well because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, basically this isn't working for anyone.
No.
Because the fans get an inferior quality product, the band is harming their career, and the label's encouraging it and financing it.
Yeah.
So it's not.
It's a quick fix, isn't it?
Yeah. And I just think it's got to go.
But it's happened all the way down the line. I mean, a lot of bands, even back to the classic bands, have put inferior albums out for exactly that reason. Going on about Saxon, right, for instance, they were putting an album out, probably one per year back in the glory days,
True, yeah.
Luckily, they wrote a lot of good songs in a very short space of time, but there's a lot of bands back then that were doing inferior albums as well, so it's always happened. I think it's a case of bands not getting lazy on the road and continuing to write, and it's very easy when you're on the road to stick yourself in that headspace and just think, right, we're out on the road now, let's just party and have fun, and just and not put any hard work in your spare time, which you've got a lot of when you're on the road. But people tend to come up with this excuse of, I couldn't write while everything was going off on the bus,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I couldn't write when we're on the road.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's such a hard life.
Yeah, so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you lot write on the road as well?
No, it's tiring.
Yeah.
We're not on the road enough to write, unfortunately.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, if I was gigging as much as some of these bands, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, but presumably, you can't because you're also working on production.
And it's hard for me, you know. I it's funny because we've come back and we're doing rehearsals for Hell at the moment for these shows we've got coming up. And we're trying to put a load of new live stuff in the set. And because I'm working with different bands day in, day out, it's like my RAM's full. I can't remember any of the material. I'm trying to remember the new stuff. I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? You know, and I've learnt it and just totally forgotten it. So I'm having to go back and relearn it, you know.
But that must be weird as well, because does it mean that because of your schedule, does that dictate to the rest of the bands
what
they can and can't do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an ideal scenario.
Well, then kick me out if they want.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
No, but but to be honest,
if they want you in the band, they have to kind of. Well, they knew they knew that going in. It's not like you suddenly became.
But I work around it as well. I mean, I've moved my schedule around for certain festivals and tours as well. So it's not like I'm not flexible about it, but it needs to be worked out in advance. That's all, you know.
Yeah.
So if I've got an album that's happening, but we haven't cancelled anything major because any Hell shows. I managed to shuffle it around, and actually the bands that I work with. They're fine if I take a weekend off to go and do a festival or something, so it's not a problem, you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess you've got to that sort of you've got to that status now, haven't you? It's like earlier you were saying like, we take an hour and a half off for lunch, and all the bands are looking at their watch, whereas now you can go and like take 2 days off to do a festival, and
right.
We're just pleased to have you.
Yeah, but I don't charge them for it, so it's fine. It is fine. It's fine.
It's 2 days holiday.
Yeah.
Unpaid holiday.
Yeah.
So have you got what's in the pipeline? Are you going to be doing anything? Well, obviously you're going. How almost forgot. You're going to be going and finishing off the Exodus album.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a new singer.
Apparently, yeah.
Who we both know.
Yeah. He's back. He's back in the band.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I'm going to get him on. I'm going to get him on the podcast. Hopefully, if Hatred is still doing the onslaught.
Yeah, they're still doing it. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, we're going to get to. We'll get him on.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's just a typical kind of music biz thing, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
You record the album.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's a bit weird, really. I mean, I didn't really sense much going down when I was over in California doing the drums and stuff. But they're obviously they've been butting heads a little bit, and I think it kind of ran its course a little bit with Rob. I mean, I get on with Rob great. I get on with Zet well as well. But it's whatever the band feel is necessary. It's not, it's none of my decision. So I'll mix it for them and send it me. You know.
So it's the mix, is it?
Yeah.
Have you found yourself getting stuck in like Mixedville, doing a lot of mixes here and there, or is that a choice of yours that you?
No, I mean, I'd said to Gary, I wish I was tracking him on it, but it's just budget wise and schedule wise on this that we're not doing it.
Right.
I tracked that on when we did Temple of the Damned. I tracked him, and I think we got some really good stuff out of him. So, I think we could go there again. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Hatred thing actually, because when I was talking to Gary the other day, they're going to track him out in California. If there's any other bits that we want to work on, then while he's over in Europe, we're just going to come over to my place and do it. So
go over to the farm.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out. We might end up patching a few bits up and reworking a few bits if it needs it. I don't know.
I'm available.
Yeah.
I'm available for out of tune weak harmonies.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. Or just some shouting.
Yeah.
Should that be needed.
Yeah.
Actually, you did you mixed Carcass, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because that the old story was out there, wasn't it? That Colin had hit a brick wall with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a literal or figurative.
He was. He's working not far from me actually, up in Chesterfield in Derbyshire, on where they were tracking it, and I've been popping backwards and forwards because I know the Carcass guys as well. I know Colin well.
Because we're all from the same area, aren't we?
Yeah. So they actually got the guitar tones at my place, and I knew they were sort of stalling a little bit on it, and I went and listened to a few mixes up in Chesterfield. I knew they weren't quite happy with the way it was going. And then Colin, we talk all the time. We're good friends, so he was sort of saying he was getting a bit stuck on it because he'd been working on it so long. And you do. It's just a natural thing. I'd rather sometimes just mix something that I haven't recorded because you haven't got all the mental bollocks that's gone with recording it.
Yeah, you come.
You're fresh
pair of ears,
and you mix it for its value.
Yeah, and also you're not carrying in the. You remember a certain something when it was recorded, and you think
you just take it on face value.
And you go like, oh, in the mix, I'm gonna and you're gonna get fixated on that instead of just coming to it clean and going right. This is it.
Yeah.
So you've got no emotional investment.
Yeah, exactly. Either. So that's kind of what was needed with it, and I think it worked out right in the end. And he jumped ship and did the Trivium thing, so
yeah,
it's fine.
It's weird again. It's like it's the small world, like you said, you and Carcass being like close friends with Colin. Colin, of course, worked at the Slaughterhouse in Driffield, which is where he started. The first album he did was.
Well, he started at Cargo Studios in where was that? It was Manchester way, wasn't it? Cargo, where he was doing all the old punk stuff and like some of the goth stuff and what have you before then. And
then he ends up at Driffield Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, and he burns down.
And
eventually,
we end up going there doing that. We were asked if we wanted to use Colin. We got Steve Stilly Harris on it.
Yeah, who's now doing U2.
Yeah. How amazing is that?
Yeah.
And we. But the weird thing is that we, it was nothing against Colin at all. It's just that we'd struck a good relationship up with Stilly, so we just kind of like went there. Colin actually helped us out and came. There's a bit of narration on the on Thoughtful Sleep. There's a bit of narration on that track, and we couldn't quite get the sound right. And Colin came in and was just in the studio at the time and helped us get that sound. Really nice guy, and we didn't work together, I think. And then years later, it was like his name was just everywhere.
Yeah,
I just couldn't believe it. It's like, wow, this is like Colin then? Yeah. Colin used to be
the
like,
train spotter from Driffield.
I was just going to say, Colin, the guy used to wear an anorak in the studio.
Still does, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he could do, yeah.
Love you, Colin, by the way.
Yeah.
And thanks for getting the sound on that. That, by the way, if you keep hearing that noise in the background, it seems to be Cyclist Central. This
I think we're at the hotel for the bike ride tomorrow, aren't we?
Yeah, and everybody's decided to turn up sort of between 11 and midnight. What possessed you to do this bike ride?
I was drunk at Donington last year, and
we've come full circle.
Never been there before, have we? No.
Yeah. And did you try and creep under a tent?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But Alex Millas, the editor of Metal Hammer, they just turned up last year after doing 161 miles from Alexandria Palace to Donington, and I was like, just being jovial and. I'll do it with you next year if you ever do it. And he remembered and wrote me in about a month ago. So I've been and bought a bike and got training. It's been really good because it's got me in good shape. And it's good. It's a good challenge.
I was going to say, you're looking in good shape.
Yeah, I lost a little bit of weight. So we'll see if we make it. Yeah, watch this space.
So you're doing it in one day?
No, 3 days.
3 days.
2.5 really.
So you've got all of your like stages planned and everything.
Yeah, I mean it's a company that sort of, they've got the whole thing planned out. There's a medic travels with us and a backup car and
right.
There's I think about 35 of us doing it this year. So.
And of course, I'm simply just driving up to download tomorrow to do my set.
Yeah. But I think it's about they do about 20 k's and stop for water and then so it's not too stressful
Yeah, well they don't want people having heart attacks and aneurysms on their watch, really, do they?
No, not really.
Do you have to have any kind of medical prior to it?
No, you've got to sign off there and say I'm healthy.
Hell, you've got some nerve signing a piece of paper says that.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, my rock and roll battered living corpse.
Hey, it's not too bad. I know a lot of people can far worse than me.
Yeah, well, like I said, every day above ground.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, look, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. That, believe it or not, it's just an hour and 5 minutes. So
it's enough.
It's enough, isn't it? Yeah, it's enough till next time.
Pay me if you want more.
Well, I think, frankly, we've managed to get through this without you libeling anyone.
We haven't slagged anyone off.
I was going to say without libeling anyone or torching your own career.
Yeah, another couple of pints, it would have been totally pear-shaped.
Yeah, we would have had all the Megadeth stories.
There's none to tell.
Of course not. No. So anyway, look, it's all gone quiet now. Absolute pleasure, lovely to see you.
You too, yes.
Thanks for doing this. And you can't take your eyes off that mic.
No, it's quite sexy, that mic.
It is, isn't it?
If it's scratch.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
cheap. How much was that?
So that was £50 off Amazon.
Okay, it's a big spender, you
So
are.
there you go. So by the way, listeners to the podcast, Andy Sneap just scratched your ears there.
Yeah. Sorry, was that in stereo? Is it, if I do that, is that tickling each ear?
Yeah, probably.
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, there's a little one.
It's a class piece of kit, that, right?
That's not.
You should have heard the first podcast.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
You should have heard the first podcast I did. Oh God, sounded like I recorded it in a toilet whilst having a shit.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. But so anyway, that's enough technical bollocks. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.
And there you go. So that was me and Andy talking bollocks, and it was really cool. It was great to catch up with him. He's a top bloke. You can tell that from the podcast there. Sorry, the recording was a bit quiet there. That caught me by surprise as well. I can't really use the excuse anymore that I'm still learning. It's been 6 months really. I'm just shit. But there you go. Fuck it. This is all. I don't get paid for this. It's just a laugh. I like doing it. And occasionally, hey, look, if it means you got to turn the volume up in your headphones or turn the volume up on the stereo, whatever, a little bit during the interview, and then the creative restraint sting comes in at the end and mashes your ears. Sorry, but that's a small price to pay, is it not? For what I thought was a pretty damn good. Well, again, it's not an interview. It's just two old mates talking, really. Can you hear that? How's that for a metal sound in the background? Hey, check that shit out. You don't get much more metal than listen to helicopter, hey? Yeah, I live in fucking war-torn Vietnam, man. Yeah, it's probably just a couple of cunts nicked a car, and they're getting tracked. So anyway, it's coming to the end of the podcast now, look. Just a couple of things I wanted to say. Going quickly back to Metallica at Glastonbury. Now, I know opinion is split. It's always going to be split on Metallica. My personal view was, despite Lars's drumming, they did a good job. They did a good job. That little movie that they put up prior to going on. Look, they represented metal. Metal was in Glastonbury, and it wasn't just fucking metal. A metal band played Glastonbury. It was Metallica headlining Glastonbury. Just think back, if you're old school, new school, whatever, but just think back, fucking 25, 30 years. Would you have ever imagined that this would have ever happened? No. And some of you will say, and it never should have, and that just proves how establishment they are now and blah, blah. Yeah, whatever, things fucking change. I actually saw somebody post a comment saying, "Oh God, so different from the band that I saw on the Justice tour." No shit, dude. You're different too. We're all different. That was fucking 25 years ago. Jesus Christ. Time changes. Time moves on. I think they did a good job. And funnily enough, I was talking to a photographer today. I don't know why I told you he was a photographer, but he is. And he was saying his 5-year-old son, since seeing on the coverage of Glastonbury, he let him stay up and he watched Metallica, almost like staying up to watch a horror movie. It's fucking hilarious. His 5-year-old son has just been listening to Metallica all the time, and his dad's not a metaler, but he's let him listen to it on Spotify and stuff, and he said he's playing his son other music, and his son just keeps going, 5 years old, keep going, it's not heavy enough, it's not heavy enough, it's not heavy enough. If that is the kind of impact Metallica playing Glastonbury having, spreading the word, the good word, on metal, then what's the fucking problem? What is the fucking problem? I think that's awesome. That's very, very cool. I don't know. It's just anecdotal evidence of, but that's what can I do? I can only tell you what I see, what I hear, what I find. Okay, so Lars Ulrich. I'm going to go very old school here. Lars Ulrich does sometimes with his new hair look a bit like Mick Miller when he's playing the drums. I would say Google a picture of Mick Miller. Don't worry. Don't DuckDuckGo a picture of Mick Miller. There is a Talking Bollocks Facebook page. None of you seem interested, but I'm fucking plugging away with that motherfucker anyway. We've still not broken the 60 barrier on people following us on Twitter. It's quite funny, but hey, it gives me something to do. So go to the Facebook / Talking Bollocks with a Z, not an S on the end, and that's the Facebook page. Anything I mention here, I will post links to on that Facebook page. So, I'll post up suicidal tendency. I'll post up Ice-T's body counts cover of Institutionalized and a picture of Mick Miller for you and all the rest of it. I might even do a bit of photoshopping and do a separated at birth. And yeah, that was funny. I have had communication from a female listener. I know. Hello, Leanne. I know you're listening. A regular listener, or probably only female listener. I keep saying if you're a female listener, let us know. Just a tweet, a text, anything, but never happens. Or email me at howard@allabouttherock.co.uk. Why All About The Rock, Howard? Well, it's funny you should ask. Why don't you tell them? I think I will. Obviously, this podcast is hosted by allabouttherock.co.uk. Get down there and check out the fucking website, those guys. Without them, this podcast would not exist. I keep ramming at home, and I always will, because I owe them. You owe them. We all owe All About The Rock a debt of gratitude, because without them, this just wouldn't be happening. So there you go. So yeah, you can get. So anyway, female listener got in touch, Leanne. I know you're listening. She made a very good point. I was talking about female-fronted metal bands, and she said Skin from Skunk Anansie. And you know what? Good point. Not going to argue with that. Not going to argue with that at all. I am going to say that that's not exactly what I was talking about. What I kind of meant was these horseshit genre bands with keyboards and like Epica and people like that. It just fucking turned me off completely. And Arch Enemy, got to hand it to him. Two female vocalists ruining a perfectly good band there. But she had a point, and if none of you if you're a Seven Dust fan at all, I know not that big over here, but Seven Dust on their second album, I think it's called Home, fucking awesome album. There's a song called Licking Cream, and it's a duet with Skin from Skunk Anansie and obviously Lajon from Seven Dust, and it's on their album. I will put that on the Facebook page. That is a genuinely fucking classic metal duet. Now, there you go. Send me your metal duets, seriously, because normally collaborations, let's face it, are shit. But it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So if you can think of one, send me, let me know. Go to the Facebook page, have a look, and play it, because it's just awesome. So Leanne, yeah, definitely got a point. I actually know the guys in Skunk Anansie. Mark Richardson played drums for them, and Mark was drummer in Little Angels, and Little Angels were signed to Song Management, and so were Acid Rain. So I know Mark very well. Funnily enough, when they did their I think their very last album, Chill Pill, yeah. I actually went down to the studio and hung out down there for a couple of days down there while they were recording that. So there you go, come full circle. But definitely talented. I don't know. I don't. Are they metal? Are Skunk Anansie metal full on? I suppose they are. I don't know. I just think there's a little bit of maybe mainstream rock in there, Leanne. I don't know. I've got to say it. I'm still not absolutely convinced. She is fucking great. I'm not questioning that for a minute. And I've been to see him a number of times because Stilly, Kev's brothers, usually crewing for Mark, and it's always good to see Mark. And they're great live, and she's awesome. And I'm not convinced it's actual full-on metal. It's kind of metally pop metal. I don't know. But either way, you got a point. So anyway, that's just about it, really. I think. Oh no, I watched a Maiden documentary on Number of the Beast. Now, some of you may have seen this documentary years ago, a number of times, and I'm just catching up on it, and I apologise. Oh, brilliant! The car's just pulling up outside. Gonna have to shut the balcony window. So there we go. No, yeah. I will actually. I was going to say the engine's turned off already, so so probably some screaming brats are going to get out of the car, and we can do without that. So so anyway, where were we? I get so easily distracted. Number of the Beast. Yeah, awesome documentary. It was amazing to watch it. Just for the old school value. Just the fact that, like, you know, people hadn't heard of them in the States. Can you imagine that? They're like, you know, big band in the UK, but people hadn't heard of them in the States because, like, it was difficult to get the album. And that's just a concept that is just so redundant now with the way things are with the net and everything else. It's mental. And it was just some really, really great old school stories and stuff. And if you haven't seen it, Maiden fan or not, it's definitely worth a watch. It's very cool. I am aware it's been out for absolute fucking years. I only just caught up with it. You're probably, every single one of you is probably saying, yeah, I've fucking seen that, dickhead. So yeah, fine, fair enough. Point made. And that's pretty. Oh, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, I mean, the best thing, you know, about the Metallica performance was they didn't play Lords of Summer, so we didn't have to listen to that fucking monstrosity drumming. Lars falling downstairs with his kit. I must admit, they've since released Lords of Summer, the like first pass version or whatever. I've given it a good listen, and I must admit I quite like Death Magnetic. I know it comes in for a lot of shit, and you know, yes, Brickwalled and all that, whatever. But there's some good. It's the best thing they've done in fucking, you know, God knows how long. And yeah, and there's some good songs on it. I like it, but fucking hell, Lords of Summer. It's shit. I mean, you know, Lars's drumming is standout shit. But I hate to say this, Hetfield's vocals and just the main riff, fucking hell. Stock, I believe the Metallica family word would be for it. It's just rubbish. It's shit. It's just shit. And it sounds like a 4 minute song that they play twice. There should be somebody in that fucking rehearsal room just saying, or tuning room or whatever, going, listen boys, and this is the problem, when bands get that big, nobody will say no or you should do that, because they're so big, they're everyone's meal ticket, so everyone just goes, yeah, that's great, yeah, do that. No, don't do that. Do not fucking do that. Lords of Summer is a 4.5 minute song at best. Why they're fucking playing it twice and calling it one song, I don't know, but it needs to be sorted out. Anyway, that's enough waffle from me. We're coming up to 1 hour and 48 minutes and 17 seconds. So, it's been great, as I always say, and I'm not going to labour this, but again, I really do appreciate all of you downloading, subscribing. Please subscribe via iTunes, give us feedback via iTunes, just give us some stars on iTunes, because it means that basically we get rated. Not enough people have rated the podcast to even have a rating yet. 2 lovely reviews, and thanks for those guys, but we do not have a rating, and it would really help. Because, you know, labels and PR companies and management companies look at this shit. Because if I'm trying to get interviews and they look at our Twitter account and we've got 60 followers, and they look at the Facebook page and we've got 200 people there, they're like, really? You want us to fucking let you interview our people? It would really help if they can go to iTunes and, apart from 2 great reviews, see some kind of, like, you know, stars. Anyway, I'm fucking begging here. You know, I'm fucking begging here. I'm fucking dying here. Look, anyway, thank you very much to each and every single one of you. Thank you very much for whether you subscribe on YouTube, whether you watch you listen to it on Facebook, whether you download it via your podcast, whether it's on iTunes, whether it's downloaded onto your piece of shit iPhone, or whether it's downloaded on a Windows phone with Podcast Lounge, or whether it's on an Android phone with Podkicker and all the other apps that are out there, all podcast apps. Please spread the word, tell everybody about it. It's brilliant. Every time an episode comes out, we're getting more and more subscribers. It really is great. I really appreciate every single one of you. I hope you enjoy it. Feedback to me as much as you like. If you're in a band, you want to and you want me to plug your band, all you got to do is get in touch. Okay? Tweet at Talking Bollocks with a Z. You can get me at Howard at allabouttherock.co.uk. It's very easy. So it just remains for me to say that I am now going to introduce the new Suicide Watch song from the soon-to-be-released mini-album Alienation Zone. Pre-order now, motherfuckers. And this is a song called This Cursed Earth. It was fucking fantastic fun doing this, and the guys have been, just a joy to work with. So, ladies and gentlemen, please pin your fucking lugholes back, pin those ears back, and get ready for the might that is Suicide Watch with a certain Howard H. Smith guesting on vocals, not on the whole thing. Rid's the main man. I do a verse and I'm in the background most of the time, and that's cool because that's what I was there to do, because they are the dudes. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Suicide Watch and This Cursed Earth.